10-minute murder.
Sharee was born in Flint, Michigan on October 13, 1971. By 16 years old, she was already out on her own. She was drawn to the seedier side of life, and it welcomed her with open arms. By 19, she was married with a child. But that marriage was short-lived. Sharee bounced around from one man to another. She eventually had 3 children with 3 different fathers. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying anything necessarily negative about this, because life happens. People make mistakes, get mixed up with the wrong people, and before they realize, boom, pregnant. What I'm saying is this aspect is part of a behavior pattern that helps tell the bigger story. Sharee did get married a second time, but that husband went to jail for hitting one of the kids so hard that it fractured their skull. It seemed as though she attracted men of questionable character. And this is what I'm saying. 3 baby daddies isn't exactly the problem. It's the type of person she's associating with. Sharee had a way of making any man feel like he was the most important man in the world, and she was able to make many men all feel that way at once. She could juggle the men in her life, at the bars, in the online chat rooms, better than most circus performers. She found an outlet for her wild side in online chat rooms. She could be whoever she wanted to be and say whatever she wanted to say. But her life online didn't pay the bills. In 1997, she was 26 years old and selling Mary Kay cosmetics, but needed more work. She applied for a job working in the office at B&D Salvage Yard. The owner, Bruce Miller, was kind and willing to give Sharee a chance. He was 20 years her senior, but the two started dating, which may explain why he hired her with 0 experience. He had money, he provided stability, and he liked her children. It seemed like Sharee may have finally found the prince in her fairy tale, and in 1999 they got married. But Sharee wasn't some helpless princess that needed rescuing. Most people in town didn't know that she got married because she was still frequenting the bars and flirting shamelessly with the men buying her drinks. While she was working in her husband's office, she had plenty of time to get on the computer and check in with her chat room romances. I'm from the 1900s myself, and in the early days of the internet and chat rooms, we called these people, men and women alike, chat hoes. And one of the men that she started talking to was Jerry Cassidy. Cassidy was once a cop with aspirations of joining the FBI. In his cop office, he exposed an issue and then was shunned by his coworkers. He eventually quit the force. He started drinking too much, and his marriage crumbled. He was lonely, but found a new career as a pit boss at a casino in Reno. Sharee told her husband that Mary Kay was having a convention in Reno. She planned a trip to go see him. Her face stayed flush the whole time she was in Reno, but not from her Mary Kay blush. Sharee and Cassidy had moved from an online romance to a full-blown physical relationship. He was absolutely crazy about her, and she filled his lonely nights with passion. Their whirlwind romance consisted of several actual visits and many, many online chats. She wasn't one that liked to be tied down. Maybe physically, but not metaphorically. She could get divorced, but she needed Bruce Miller's money. Her problem seemed to have resolved itself on November 8, 1999, when she found out that her husband had been killed at work. Bruce was late coming home, and she called her brother-in-law and asked if he had heard from him. He went to go check the office and found Bruce dead. He had been murdered, shot with a 20-gauge shotgun. The police had little to go on. They speculated what it looked like, a robbery gone bad, and the case went cold. Miller and Sharee had not even been married a year. They were practically still newlyweds. But while the family was planning the funeral, Sharee was once again visiting the bars. As Bruce Miller's widow, she got the salvage yard, which she sold, got the money in the bank accounts, some stocks he owned, and the cash from his life insurance policy. And just 2 weeks after Bruce's death, 2 weeks now, Sharee had a new boyfriend move in with her. This new boyfriend was not Jerry Cassidy. So what happened to him? They seemed like teenagers in love, a Romeo and Juliet fighting to be together against all odds. Sharee had ended that relationship with Jerry almost immediately following her husband's death. Maybe it was guilt over the affair. Maybe it was not wanting to be in another serious relationship so soon. However, Jerry couldn't get past the love that he thought that they shared. In February of 2000, Jerry Cassidy was found dead in his home. He committed suicide. They also found a briefcase under his bed. There was a note taped to the outside of the briefcase addressed to his parents. But what was inside was about to destroy the new life Sharee had carefully constructed. At what point Sharee started to develop her plan is unclear, but she intricately spun a web of lies that pulled Jerry Cassidy right in. One of those ways she used to lure him. After they initially met, she sent him a video of her pleasuring herself for him to watch whenever he missed her. Jerry wanted her to leave Bruce, but she told him that she couldn't leave. Bruce was abusive and tied to the mafia. Now hold on, it gets worse. She sent Jerry Cassidy a video of a sonogram and told him that she was pregnant with his child. He was ecstatic, although that excitement was soon replaced with rage when Sharee told him that her husband had raped her until she lost the baby. She sent Cassidy pictures of bruises from fights that they had. Then Cassidy started receiving emails from, air quotes, Bruce. The emails were cruel, taunting, and full of threats. Cassidy thought the safety of Sharee's life was literally in his hands. He went to Flint, Michigan, walked into Bruce's office, and he shot him, and went back home, waiting to hear that Sharee was safe and they could finally start their life together. But that call did not come. In fact, Sharee wouldn't respond to his emails or phone calls. Eventually, she told him that she was seeing other people and that they were done. Jerry Cassidy must have been pretty confused. After all, Sharee had asked him to kill her husband. Sharee had even planned the whole murder. Was he just a pawn in her twisted, evil game? Maybe that's when he started to discover the truth. The truth being that Bruce Miller was actually a decent man. He helped Sharee with her kids. He didn't abuse her. She used makeup for the bruises and the pictures that she sent to Jerry. He had not even sent the threatening emails. Sharee created a fake account and sent those emails pretending to be Bruce to Jerry. And she was never pregnant with his child. She had a tubal ligation years before. He was devastated, maybe even racked with guilt, realizing he had been played and tricked into murdering an innocent man. But when Cassidy took his own life, he made arrangements to take Sharee down with him. In the briefcase, the police found videos, pictures, and copies of their online conversations, more than enough to link Sharee to the crime. In February of 2000, Sharee Miller was arrested without bond. On December 22nd, the jury found her guilty of all charges. On January 29, 2001, a judge sentenced her to life in prison for the conspiracy to commit murder and second-degree murder. But in August of 2008, a federal judge overturned the conviction and ordered a new trial, stating that the suicide note from Cassidy should not have been entered in evidence since he was dead and not available for cross-examinations, without a Ouija board. So on July 16, 2009, a federal judge ordered that Sharee be released from jail until her new trial. The prosecutor from Genesee County did not agree with the decision and ordered that she be immediately arrested upon release from the prison and brought back to the county jail. On July 22nd, she was once again arraigned. The new trial was set to start in October. Sharee's attorneys filed an appeal and the trial was put on hold. Not only did they manage to postpone the trial, but on July 29th, she was released on a $100,000 recognizance bond. Sharee was out of jail. She visited with family and friends, planned a shower for her pregnant daughter, wrote to her son serving overseas, took photography classes, went to counseling, and met other men both online and in bars. While she was enjoying her freedom, the wheels of justice continued turning. On June 21, 2010, the U.S. Court of Appeals agreed that Cassidy's suicide note was not admissible. On November 14, 2011, the U.S. Supreme Court vacated the Court of Appeals decision and sent the case back to the Sixth Court Circuit of Appeals. The Court of Appeals sent the case back to the District Court. It's all pretty confusing, but throughout the entire process, Sharee Miller maintained she was innocent and wrongfully accused. Although once she returned to prison, she wrote the judge a letter admitting her guilt to the murder. Her letter sounded remorseful. She said spending the last few years with her family and friends had made her really realize what she took away from Bruce Miller and his family. She admitted to manipulating Jerry Cassidy to kill her husband. She even claimed that she always wanted to admit that she was guilty, but that her lawyers would not let her. As emotional as her letter may have seemed, on August 28, 2017, the judge denied Sharee's motion for relief from the judgment. Not only that, her lawyer said that at no point ever in life did she ever ask to plead guilty. That would have actually simplified the case, allowing her to just take a plea deal with a shorter sentence. The story has been featured on multiple TV shows, including Investigation Discovery's Deadly Women. A book called Fatal Error was written about the case and turned into a movie. Even while in prison, Sharee has continued communicating with men. During the case, the prosecutor issued a public warning to be careful when meeting people online. You never really know who you may be talking to. That's 10-Minute Murder for today. Brief and bingeable true crime. I'm Joe, the host, and thank you for listening today. If you're new, welcome, settle in, put your feet up, grab a coaster. I don't have a drink for you, it's BYOB, but catch up on all the back episodes, and the easiest way to do that is to hit the subscribe button wherever you're listening right now. That more easily, every time you open the app, the episodes are going to be right there in your face, more easily accessible to you. If you want to see the pictures of what we talk about, put the faces and the places to what you're hearing here, connect with me on social media. Links are in the show notes, or just go anywhere you'd like to connect with the show. Type in 10-Minute Murder, and it's going to pop right up. I don't post crime scene photos that are gross and graphic, though. And by the way, many of you ask, what can I do to help the show? Is there a way that I can subscribe to something that helps you monetarily, support the show? At this point, there's no way to do that. Maybe in the future, I don't know. But if you want to help the show, the best way I know how to tell you is to tell people about the show. Tell people, everyone that you know, about 10-Minute Murder. And also leave reviews and ratings anywhere that's possible. Apple, Spotify, Audible, those are just a few places that's possible. Your positive feedback helps the show grow. Okay, that's going to do it. That is your episode for today. Thank you so much for listening to 10-Minute Murder. I really do appreciate it.